lovelies, welcome to my channel. My name is Jade and I help people reclaim back their power physically, mentally and spiritually through raising their vibration. Now today is some serious advice for beginner witches and baby witches. Now of course, disclaimer, everyone is, permitted to do as they please. This is your life, this is your own free will. However, I have learned many lessons, many tough lessons, and endured quite a lot of trouble within the paranormal world and realms. So it's safe to say I have vast experience, and this is basically me just trying to help those who are unsure about occultism, witchcraft, spells, metaphysical manifesting, etc. And avoid basically falling into any traps and trouble and accidentally conjuring things that are just going to wreak havoc on your life, because the spiritual path and especially the occultic path is not to be taken lightly. It is very serious and people can really cause, you can basically destroy your life if you're not careful. So here's the do's and don'ts of witchcraft and spells. Now we'll start with the don'ts. Let's get the bad things out of the way. So the first don't is don't mess with black magic. Now I cannot stress this enough because it's really important to understand how the universe works, the universal law of karma. So whatever you give out, you get back. And on a deeper note, you're not here to be hexing people. You're not here to be causing negative energy towards others, especially when it comes from a place of your ego, not your heart. But with black magic, if you are deliberately trying to hex someone, curse someone, send them evil eyes, send them, anything like that, or even conjure dark spirits, you're trying to conjure demonic spirits, you need to be extremely careful and avoid doing these at all costs, because you'll get it back threefold. I know many witches don't believe in the threefold law, but it's real. I don't care what anyone says, because I had it happen to me when I stupidly hexed someone in school when I was about, I think, 11 or 12 years old. And it was just this little hex. It was very petty, it was very silly, but it came true literally the next day. And I got it happen to me probably about 3 years later, threefold. Again, it was an instant thing. It was literally exactly the thing. The same thing happened to me instantly, but it was much worse than what happened to this person. It takes a lot of wisdom to really know, to do the right thing. So basically, yes, there is a threefold law. So what you get back, what you put out, you will get back. I will do a deeper video on this topic, but it's very important to really understand this. And sometimes it won't happen in this lifetime, but it can happen in your next lifetime. In basically your next karmic debts will be added to your next life, because you're never here to conjure dark energy. You're never here to do that sort of thing. That's a very easy way out. It's a very petty, egotistical, shallow, low vibrational thing to be doing. The highest form that you can do is always to forgive, to show light, and to basically be the bigger person. If someone hurts you, if someone is being an arsehole, basically walk away, let it go. You don't need to be hexing people, you don't need to be cursing people. Use that energy instead to bring more abundance and safety and health to you and your loved ones. Banish people, if you need to banish people, that's different from hexing, then that's fine. If someone is deliberately causing you harm, then banish them, let it go, try to make them basically get out just your space. That is fine. But when you do black magic, basically you are giving consent to dark entities to intervene, because a really toxic thing that can happen with witches and even with new agers, especially with new agers, you see a lot now, is people get a sort of God complex psychology. and they start thinking that they are like a god, they are so powerful, they can do and conjure anything, and they have complete control. But this is an illusion, and a lot of the time people like this will get a sore reminder of that. You are not doing everything, okay? There is many entities around us, good and bad, that help you manifest things, that help you even manifest dark things. So a lot of the times very experienced, you know, satanic witches, or, you know, anyone that practices dark magic will deliberately, they know this, and they summon demons, demonic entities to do, you know, their bidding, basically, to do their dirty work. But this is why a lot of the time they will sacrifice an animal as payments, because energy is currency in the astral realms. So if you're not knowing what you're doing, and you're loosely, you know, doing these sort of rituals that are like summoning these entities, and you're just wanting them to go and hurt people and destroy their lives, expecting them to do it for free, then you're being a damn fool, okay? These entities do nothing for free. Why would they? You do not have control over them. They have control over you. It's a payment. They always require payments. So this is why people, like I said, will sacrifice animals, chickens, lambs, that sort of thing, because that's currency, that's energy currency. But once you do this sort of thing, there's no going back. It's very dark. I really strongly advise against doing such things. So you really, you know, do not even go there. Even with Ouija boards, even sometimes tarot, you've got to be really careful with any sort of divination work, but especially Ouija boards. Do not use Ouija boards if you're not highly experienced and know how to fully protect yourself and know that you are on a high vibration, because it's just too easy to let in these entities, and many people do it without even knowing, and then they wonder why all hell seems to be breaking loose into their life. So you have to be extremely cautious at all times. Only strive to do light work, you know, be a light worker. We have enough dark energy on this planet. You know, genuine witches are here to be light workers at this time, okay? Because the balance is not right. There's too much negative energy, and those of you who are empaths can feel this. This is why you're here. You need to be oracles, you need to be the healers, and genuine witches of even our ancestors, most of the wise ones, they were healers, okay? We knew about the balance to keep things in harmony. We strive for harmony. So I'm not a Wiccan, but I do like their philosophy of do what you want as long as it harms none. And I think that's a very good rule of thumb to go by when you are on the path of witchcraft and any sort of spiritual work. So yes, I strongly advise do not ever do black magic. Number 2, don't bother with love spells. Now this one should speak for itself, but again, this can be all too tempting for little baby witches and beginner witches who again haven't really done inner work, and you're performing from a place of lust, desire, your ego. And really ask yourself, why do you want to put a love spell on someone who doesn't want you? Why do you want to put a love spell on someone who doesn't want you? If someone doesn't want you, then that's a sign from the universe they are not meant to be with you. And that means that you will not be happy with that person. Remember, lust can be very foolish, and a lot of the times, and I can tell you this from experience, many times as a teenager and as a young woman, I would fall over, you know, I would get into guys and obsessively want to be with them, all for the wrong reasons. And, you know, this desire can be so strong, and you think, oh, it's love. It's not. Okay, please. And it's only when you really work on yourself and you realize what it is that's making you really desire someone, like to the point of obsession, you know, you wake up. You need to wake up, and you never ever want to start a relationship with enslavement, because that's really what it is, energetic enslavement. And you will get bad karma for this, because if you are trying to control someone against their will, that's really bad karma, and it will only turn into chaos, trust me, because you are trying to go against the law of free will. We all have free will. Even angels and demons and entities can't intervene with that. There are loopholes, of course there is. This is how demonic contracts and possession and all that, you know, happens. I'll do a video on that. But in general, we have the law of free will. So when you try to go against that, it can cause real havoc for you. And you want to love, you want to be in a relationship with someone who loves the real you, who loves you authentically. And this will bring real satisfaction, because even if it was to work, which they can, you know it's false. So it can turn very dark and make you very insecure. It will make you know, because in the back of your mind, you'll always know that they don't really love you. It's lust, it's never love. You can't conjure a love spell against someone's free will. You can heal, you can send loving energy to people, but to try and forcefully make someone obsess over you, that's a bad thing. That's a very negative thing to do. And ask yourself, you know, in the first place, you wouldn't want to do this sort of spell in the first place if you had enough self-love. Most people who are doing these sort of spells will desperately want to force someone to love them. It's because you lack self-love. So instead of wasting your energy and conjuring bad karmic debt for yourself, do self-love spells, okay? Do a self-love bath ritual. Put that energy into you. Focus on yourself, focus on your goals, focus on your career, focus on your diet, your health. Do everything you can. Use that energy wisely, because trust me, your energy is not limitless, okay? So you have to use your energy. See your energy as if it's money, because it is. It's energetic currency. So you need to make your payments really wisely. So you want to be a fucking powerful woman or man, and not be, you know, petty, because it's the ego that wants to try and force and control things against free will. And this is a very low vibration to have. And the more you let go, the more you focus on yourself, you will manifest someone, your real soulmate, okay? Because if you are trying to force someone to love you, that means they're not your soulmate. So you're potentially blocking your real soulmate and your twin flame from coming to you energetically. You're pushing them away. And trust me, they will find you when you are ready in divine timing. But you have to be on the right vibration to find one another. So you have to do the self-work, you have to do the inner healing, and then you will vibrate towards one another. Trust me, this is what happens with me and my partner Sam. And I went through so much heartbreak with other men for years, until the point I gave up on love. And this came out the blue, and our relationship isn't perfect. We've been through a lot together, but we've finally found real harmony and peace. And this is only because we've worked on ourselves. And this is where real true love comes into place. And no spell will ever give you that. And number 3 is never perform spell work or ceremonies or rituals when in a low vibration. So basically, if you're struggling with depression, mental health issues, your life is basically extremely chaotic, it's very dark, I would not get into occultic practices just yet. You need to do real inner healing work. You can do very gentle spell work that is all focused on love and healing, but I would not go near any sort of spell work such as trying to conjure money or this or that, you know, manifesting things. Just focus on light and love and bringing in high vibrational things. So your main focus should be about self-care and basically raising your vibration. Because if you are conjuring things, if you are doing witchcraft when you're in a very low place, when you're in a low vibration, you're basically a magnet to low vibrational energy. So it's extremely difficult for you to conjure and manifest high vibrational things when you are vibrating at a very low frequency. To really understand witchcraft and magic, you need to learn how energy works. And you need to learn that everything is energy, vibration, and frequency. everything in the universe, including you. So you need to match the vibration and frequency of things that you want to manifest within your life and within yourself and your soul. So for example, if you're doing loads of even meditation and you're doing loads of spells and opening all these sort of gateways and doorways whilst vibrating on a low frequency, you know, you may also be drinking loads of alcohol, doing drugs, having promiscuous sex with loads of different people. You are setting yourself up for absolute disaster. Kind of like a radio station, okay? There's so many different stations of frequency that your consciousness is on, and you need to tune in to the right radio station, and everything is basically existing simultaneously at the same time, but it's your frequency that magnets, that attracts certain things, and of course there are loopholes, but I can't explain it all in this video. But it's really, as a rule of thumb, you need to basically make sure and aim to be in the highest vibrational possible, be in a very good space basically. Otherwise, if you're not, this can lead to mental breakdowns, this can lead you down really dark paths, this can even lead you to attract very negative people into your life. This can lead you, you know, that will be very abusive, etc. This can lead to hexes, curses, even demonic activity, even entity attachments. This can lead to basically even losing, like, health problems. Like, so many things can be caused when doing this sort of, you know, deep stuff. It's very dangerous, basically. Basically, these things are not to be taken lightly. I apologize, that was something that just literally made a huge noise right next to me. This happens a lot in my life. I have a lot of paranormal experiences, and I just caught that on camera. But this is what I mean, this is how powerful these things are. Like, even me just talking about it always manifests, it helps manifest their energy. So I don't particularly like doing these sort of videos for this reason. So I'm gonna end it there before I open up too much energy for them. So let's move on to the do's of witchcraft. Sorry, I'm a bit shaken up because that was really loud. I don't know how loud it will be on this camera, but anyway, do everything from your heart. Everything needs to be done from a space of love, because if you do things from a space of your ego, it can really lead you down the wrong sort of path and ultimately lead you to suffering. Because our ego can be very foolish and not have the best discernment at times for what is truly meant for us and what is truly good for us. It tends to block out our spirit guides, it tends to block out our higher self and our heart ultimately. Our heart always knows where we need to be, who we need to see. Use your gifts wisely. Use your gifts to be of service to others, and this doesn't mean that you have to be a people pleaser, because of course you need to show your self-love and your cup needs to be full until you can help others. Otherwise you won't have enough energy to help others. So it's getting that balance right and ultimately learning that true wisdom, and the only way you can really gain that true wisdom is to open your hearts. So really value empathy, compassion, mercy, but from a strong sort of place, if that makes sense. Not from a place of being like a doormat and a people pleaser, because you need to have strong, healthy boundaries at the same time. But the ego will always want to do foolish things to gain control and power, because your ego is always coming from a place of fear. Your heart comes from a place of love. So don't listen to your ego wanting to do love spells or hexes or, you know, silly little things like that. Listen to your heart, because your heart will do what's really needs to be done and ultimately empower you so much and put you on such a lighter path. And of course, it's not always easy. You're always going to have challenges. That's just life. Like what you saw with me just there. I'll always be around spirits and it doesn't mean that they're always dark. Sometimes they just want to get my attention because they need help. But this is the life of a witch. This is the life of a clairvoyant. This is what you're here to do. You're here to help spirits in the astral, and you're here to help people on the physical realm, animals, the earth. Basically, a true witch is a healer. You're healers. So the second thing is do your own shadow work seriously. So again, this links to the first one that I just said. But basically, if you don't do your own shadow work, you will accidentally conjure really dark things. You might fall into madness potentially. You might fall into really sticky situations that can be very tricky to get out of. And trust me, I know from my own experience. And healing is really important, because basically if you don't do your own shadow work, and shadow work is basically really looking at yourself without judgment and without ego. So you're very honest with yourself. You need to analyze your flaws and treat them in a very compassionate, loving way. You need to do your best to transmute them and be an alchemist, ultimately, to transmute your trauma into love, into peace, and really become content with yourself. So it's a whole mixture of self-care, self-love, healing, purging, transmutation, you know, many things. I will do a whole video dedicated on this, as it's such an important thing to go through on the spiritual path. And it's very intense because you need to face your own inner demons head on. So you need to really analyze yourself and notice your triggers. You need to notice what, you know, why do you have certain desires for certain things, for example? Are they really beneficial, or are they just coming from a place of trauma? Most people operate subconsciously from their childhood traumas without even realizing. So it takes a lot of self-care, self-work, but this is very important to do when as a witch, because if you don't go through this stage, you won't ultimately become the healer that you're meant to become. You won't really be efficient enough at healing other people, because you need to heal yourself first. And once you heal yourself, you become such a powerful light, and that light automatically heals others very easily. You just shine so bright, so bright. And you need to heal yourself in order to have enough chi, to have enough energy, because when you're carrying around loads of baggage from past trauma, pain, suffering, your ego, it's very heavy, it's very dense energy, and this can be very difficult to even have the energy to do certain witchcraft and spells and, you know, anything really. So take shadow work seriously and make that your main priority before even attempting, like, you know, fun spells or whatever. So self-care is a must and vital, and should always be done first. And the third thing is do your own research from credible sources. Now, in this day and age of YouTube and social media, Instagram, TikTok, there are so many trendy, you know, witches going around, making it very, they treat witchcraft like a fashion trend. And ultimately this can be very dangerous and destructive and have huge negative consequences on people's lives if they are fortunate enough to do something foolish and get into trouble. So don't listen to these, you know, very shallow people that you see on TikTok, etc., who treat, you know, witchcraft as an aesthetic, as a fashion trend. Because these people, I'm quite, you know, sorry to say, they don't know what they're talking about, okay? And you see it again with New Agers as well. They've turned it into a money-making business because, of course, there's huge money in spiritual, esoteric, you know, industries now. So just be wise and cautious of who you listen to, who you take, you know, who you allow into your life and into your space. I would always advise to go for older books and stuff, because that seems to be where the true knowledge is. Wheel of Fortune has great material. It can be a little tricky to read as it is in more sort of older English, but if you can get through it, like, it's very good. You know, there's loads of people who you can find. I mean, there is, of course, loads of credible people on YouTube. But I would advise, as a rule of thumb, try to go for people who are more mature, more wise, more older. Avoid little, you know, teenagers, especially avoid teenagers. There may be exceptions, but most of the time, it takes many years to really learn the craft, to really learn how energy works ultimately, but not just to learn witchcraft, to gain wisdom and discernment. It takes many, many, many years. And ultimately experience as well. Not everyone has the calling, because ultimately true witches, you are either born, it's either in your bloodline, or you have the calling, and the calling is an energetic thing that you feel inside yourself. You are called to this. And many people who have the authentic calling, you're natural empaths, you're highly sensitive people, you are light workers, and this is why your soul has reincarnated into you right now, because that is your mission, to be a love alchemist. You need to use your gifts wisely and really learn psychic protection. It takes great psychic strength to be a witch, and most people have no idea what it's truly about, and they treat it as just a little fashion trend because they've watched too much, you know, Sabrina, the Teenage Witch. Well, now the Satanic Witch from Netflix. And that's another thing. A lot of people glamorize dark magic because they make it seem all cool and goth and, you know, powerful, but ultimately it's not. That's not the most powerful form of magic at all. Nothing beats light. You know, light always shuns away darkness. You can't argue that, and I know from my own experience. So always, you know, don't shun light. Don't allow yourself to be brainwashed, to be you know, glamorized into this sort of false illusion of what witchcraft and witches should be and act like, etc. Trust me, been there, done that. So be wise, be careful who you listen to, and don't be fooled by these posers, I suppose I could call them. I did do a video called The Biggest Lies Within the New Age Movement, so this kind of goes hand in hand with that, so check that out if you want to see. Also my fake guru video, check that out as well. As this, yeah, it's very important not to be led astray by fake witches, fake psychics, you know, just charging you money, because unfortunately there is a lot of that in the industry. So yeah, be careful, don't be throwing your money away and thinking you've got to buy every bloody damn crystal, because you don't. Nothing is more important or powerful than your own energy, especially your heart. Your heart energy is supremely powerful, and that's why many people do not teach you that, because one, they haven't mastered it themselves, and two, there's no money to be made from it. So always remember that. So I hope this video helps you and gives you some important guidance on your own personal path. Like, subscribe and share, and go follow me on Instagram for more daily content that I'll post on there. Lots and lots of love to you. Himsa.